I mean, it's always been a childhood thing. I've always been into music, loved listening to music. And I remember my dad having an old reel-to-reel tape machine, and he used to play his old Bollywood music on it. I mean, things like Awara and real classics like that. And I just loved the sound of well, I just love the sound. I just love sound, and I've always, ever since I was a kid, banging on things, hitting. Used to drive my mum mad, hitting pots and pans in the kitchen with spoons and stuff, and wrecking them basically. And my journey into becoming a musician wasn't straightforward. In that at school I wanted to do music. You know, when you take your options in the third year, I put down music as one of my options, and my careers advisor at the time crossed that off and said, "Why are you putting music down? You're going to work in a factory one day." So I didn't get a musical education at school, and it wasn't until I was about, it wasn't until I left school and I got my first job and I went out and bought my first guitar. I was about 17, 18, and then that was it. I was just totally and utterly hooked. And at that time I had no sort of like inkling that I could do music for a living, because culturally, it wasn't the done thing as well within the Asian community, especially here. Our parents came here and had a certain image. My dad wanted me to become an engineer, because he was an engineer, and I happened to be quite good at engineering, and I got an apprenticeship after I left school. But I was paying more attention to my guitar playing than actually my apprenticeship. And the company I was working for at the time was actually going to put me through my apprenticeship and then send me to uni to study design engineering. And my dad was really proud. And one morning I just didn't get up for work, and my dad come in and say, "Come on son, you're going to be late for work." And I said, "Oh, I'm not going in." And he said, "Well, you're not well." And I said, "No, I'm not going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a guitar player." And let's say he lost his rag a little bit, and he didn't get it, and he was very disappointed. But once he saw that I was actually determined and committed to it, he started to accept it and was actually quietly proud of it. I think. Well, I like to think he was quietly proud of it. But even then, I was still thinking, well, I can't do music for a living, so I've got to go off and do something else. So I went off to Oldham College, where they did a theatre technician's course, and I studied that. Became a theatre technician for a little while, and still it was like, I was like, nah, this isn't right. And eventually decided not to do that, and decided I was going to do music full time. So so from quite early on, I had a connection with theatre. I've always loved theatre, and apart from wanting to play in rock bands and be a guitar hero, I wanted to write music for theatre and film and stuff. And eventually got a few breaks here and there. Sort of like writing music for friends basically, and no pay. And that's how I got into composition work really, and never looked back really. It's like I think for me, composing for theatre is really exciting, because every job that comes my way is totally different, and I have to go off and research different musics that I haven't played before or composed for. So that's one of the reasons why I'm into writing for theatre. Well, I got a call of Sajad one day, who he just said, "I've got this production coming up. Would you be interested in writing for it?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course." And when I went to see him, I thought, "I know you from somewhere." And I was racking my brain trying to think of where I knew him from, and he reminded me that I'd done some workshops in Oldham years ago, and he was one of the participants in it, and he was one of the kids who just wanted to play the drums. I thought, "Oh, right, okay, so from being a workshop participant now, you're you're going to employ me. I thought, that's great. It was a bit weird, but it was great. You know, it was great to see that he'd sort of like, because I remember talking to him after that, and he really wanted to be involved in the arts and stuff, and I just thought it was great that now he was sort of like doing what he was doing with Peshkar. So that's how I got involved with Peshkar.